Okay, so also open the IntelliJ. So I'll continue with inheritance from last week after reviewing some arrays, an array and array list. So if everybody can see my IntelliJ, right? The screen.
Yes.
So going to note first. Okay. So basically for variables, we saw store for single values, right? But in array, we can save multiple multiple objects as a, like this is basically when you declare more than one object at the same time and want to store some places, you will be using either array or array list. So there are some techniques to create array or array list. First, I'm going through array and then I will go to array list. For creating an array, you have to first declare. Basically, you are just giving data type, what type of array. Like if you are creating something related to number, right, it will be int. And if something like name or text something, that will be string, right? So one important thing in array, you have to give some kind of square bracket after the data type. And then you have to give the name. Name will be exactly like some variable you gave before, right? Any name, the applicable name related to your testing. Here, the name, in the example on the screen, data type is int, right? And the name as a variable or array, this is array name, right? Number. So this part is declaration part. And second line is creation part, means how many object you want to create, basically. So you want to create 10 object, and these 10 object will be stored in this number variable, right? And this array. This is two line technique, but you can do this 2 line in a single 1 line step. You see that declaration and creation at the same time. You will be doing actually this. Because end of the day, we have to save space and time, right? So this is saving both space and time. So first you are doing declaration and creation at the same time here. You see that before we did in 2 line, now we are doing in single line. So 10 means you have 10 places or 10 number you can store here. So for example, if this is string type, right, data type, like some cars, you see that car is a variable name. You can just write here vehicle also. Instead of car, you want to write vehicle or something. This is just a name that you will be giving. And this is a square bracket, and this is data type. And inside this is square bracket of data type, you are giving all this car name, right? So this car variable or array will be saving all of these 4 different type of cars. So now you have actually, I'll show this in IntelliJ also. You can use all of them, like primitive, non-primitive in array list. And there are 3 types of array, but you will be mostly seeing 2-dimensional array in the future when you do testing. But sometimes in complex situation, you have to do 3-dimensional also. So basically 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional means you have you kind of table format. 2-dimensional will be kind of table format, and 1-dimensional will be something like that, is a one single line. But going to IntelliJ first. So here, right, as I said, this is one main method, right? I created, this is already created, and something class name is array concept, for example. And this array demo, this is a package, right? This is our project, this is our package, and those are some of this class name. And this, I declared some array, right? How you know that? Because you see that int and then variable and then square bracket. So in array, you can actually give this square bracket in next to the data type also. Here I gave after the variable, right? But you can also give after data type. So in array, you will see every single places starting from index, and index actually is some number of the position, and this is starting from the 0. So for example, if you have 5 number, right, the first number will be index 0. So number 1 will be placed on index 0. So those are index, so position, right, position of the number. So now you declare that, okay, I am creating an array with 5 numbers. And now you are giving those 5 number here. You see that? So number 1, which is index 0 actually, first number will be index 0, and it is 2. Same thing, 12, right? So this entire thing, you are just giving those numbers separately, right? But in a second concept, we will see here, right? If you see a little bit here, exactly same thing you can give in a single line instead of writing all of these 6 or 7 line. Now you can actually write, if I give if I just comment this one, for example, and also comment this one. So this part I'm just commenting, and now same thing I will be just writing in a single line. So if I just copy and paste here, for example, before I declared and give the number separately, right? Instead of doing all of this like in multiple 1 line, 2 line, 3 line, 4 line, 5 line, 6 line, 6 different line, you can just write in a single line here. And just int. So, okay. So int a, for example, here, right? So you are giving 5 separate number. Instead of this, I'm giving, so 5 number here. And you are just saving some time here, right? From here to here, you are just saving 5 extra line. Doing exactly same thing. You are first declaring the variable means array, and then you are just giving each of this number in a single different position, right? For example, this 3 will be in index 0, 5 will be index 1, 7 will be index 2, 9 will be index 4, and 9 will be index 3, 11 will be index 4. So index 0 to 4 means 5 different number in this array. So this will be, length will be 5, right? So now, if can somebody tell what I'm doing here in this line?
This is the condition.
This is a for loop that we did last class, right? So now I want to display this 5 number, for example. There is a 5 number right there in this array.
Shantaba, it should be 11 or 12.
You can write anything actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying this is just example.
For example.
You can give, actually, if you want to match exactly like this, you can give just 2, and then 6, and then 1, then 9, then 12. So that will be matching exactly like this, right? So now, if you want to display all of this number on the screen, you can use for loop. From last class, you saw what was the condition of the for loop. I equal to 0, right? So 0 means here index 0, right? Here you see that 0 means position 0, index, and then length, right? So if you don't know the length, you can just directly use this method. This is a built-in Java method. If you use this length, that means they will be automatically figure it out. Okay, there are 5 length. 5 of this number, the length is 5. For example, if you want to write another thing, right? The system.out. Okay. I'm just writing it something. System.out.length. If I type this line will be giving me how many number is there. So for example, now before I running this for loop, I'm commenting out this one also. This way you will see. Okay, so this line should be displaying how many number in this array. So what is a good scenario in test case scenario here to figure out length? Can somebody tell? So for example,
we can minimize the line.
Sorry?
We can minimize the line.
Yeah, you can minimize the line, definitely, this is true. But also in the test scenario, for example, when you're testing something, for example, you want to see in some drop down or some search result screen should have 50 record. Now you are checking this, that how many records or how many link is there. So you will be actually figuring out like this in the real automation script. You see that it gave the length 5. Everybody can see. So length means how many number is there. If you add more number, you can add more number. So this way, if you don't declare with specific index, right? If you declare a specific index, you actually cannot add more than 5 number. But if you just keep it open, not declaring, instead of this, you can just keep adding. It doesn't matter how many you add. It will be just, for example, I'm giving 44, 55, 66, 77. So now how many number it should be displaying here? It should be displaying like 9, right?
9 number.
Yeah. So this is array, right? So the difference between array and simple variable, the concept is exactly same, right? So simple variable will be holding just a single number or single name or single something single value, right? But array is similar to variable, but it is holding more than one. It can hold one also. It doesn't matter. If you just give one number, it will hold one. But it can be expanded as you just adding the numbers in the bucket actually. So it will be very, very helpful array. So you can actually add more values, and you can also delete more values from inside the list. So if you go to this node actually, and now now another important thing is you want to see those lists. That will be very important, because in real testing, you just not gonna say, okay, I want to know the number. You want to also see what are those numbers or what are those names while you do testing, right? So now I'm just removing this comment. That way you can see for loop, right? So now I want to see all of these numbers on my screen. So I will be using for loop, right? Remember I said for loop will be giving all of this number, because you have to just give one starting point and ending point, right? So now maybe you don't know how many numbers is there, but you know the method that Java use to figure out the length of the number, and this is length, right? You see that length, dot length. So if you give this array and then a dot and length, that will give you this number, the maximum number of values inside the array, right? So I'm using, this is my ending point. So I equal to 0 means index 0, right? This 2 will be index 0. And this 7 will be actually index 8, even though the number is number 9 number, but index will be 8, because index always starting from the 0, not from 1. Now that length will be 9. That means you are getting actually 8, right? You will be getting till 8. So this way you can just see all of this number. So now if I just run this, I should be seeing all of this number here. See that? So this number I saw 9 different number, right? With just one simple for loop. You see that, just a for loop, simple for loop, one line simple for loop. If you didn't use the for loop, you have to write 9 different lines, right? If you didn't use for loop, how are you going to use this? Like something like that, right? If I just give a, so actually before going that, I want to show you some notes here. So you see that if you want to, if you don't want to use for loop, right? For example, I want to see Volvo. What do you have to do? You have to give the array name, and inside this the index, right? If you want to see Mazda, what you have to give here? 3, right? Because index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3. Similar way, I'll be. Yes. If somebody is asking me question, or if you are not. Okay, so if you go there, right, again. I think somebody is not mute. Let me check. Not mute. Okay, mute all. Okay.
Whoever's in the chat.
Okay, everybody can hear me? Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, yeah.
Somebody was talking with like unmute situation, so okay. So similar way, if I don't use the loop, right? So loop concept, then what I have to do, I have to write something like that. A and actually not this one. Okay. So inside this, right, I have to give some index 0. For example, I want to see 55. So 55 will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, index 6, right? So now, if you run this, you see that you have 55 here. So similar way, you have to write all of these 9 different lines to see all these 9 number if you don't use loop. Because you use loop, you don't have to write separate line every time. Just one line, give starting point and give ending point. Here ending point is the length, right? You said the length, total length is 9. And this is increment, right? Because I want to see all of this number. So the array concept, anybody did not understand what is array concept is here? So yeah, so this is, yeah, so if you understand loop from last class and understand variable concept from previous class, actually beginning, then combining these two concept will be array concept actually, right? So you are giving variable, declaring variable, but instead of one single values, you are declaring multiple values basically. Same thing you can write here, names also. If you go to car, right? So now I'm just copying this, for example. I'm just copying this. Actually, okay. Here. So now I go here. So instead of car, I am giving string variables, right? Means there is a array is a string type, not int. Int was number, right? So now if I run this, what you supposed to see here? Can somebody tell if you run this, what you're supposed to see on the screen?
It's
Volvo.
Volvo.
Yeah, so Volvo. So this is the expectation that I will see Volvo because I used index 0. So now how you can see all the cars here?
If you put 3,
Now if you want to see
If we put less,
So we need to add a for loop.
yeah, you can write something like that. Instead of that, you can just add a for loop, right? And this is a for loop for something like that. If I copy it, for example, now. So what is missing here actually? What is red? Can somebody tell?
So instead of A, we can put cars.
Yes, this is true. This is the concept actually, because this is not matching.
and instead of int, we can use, we should use a string.
Yes. So instead of A, because A is the variable or array name. It was from previous, I just copied, right? But for this current one, cars is the variable name or array name, right? So you have to change, instead of a, it will be car. You see that car is a variable. So now there is no red. So if I run this now, I should see actually all of these 4 cars. So everybody got this concept. Why somebody can tell why I got 2 Volvo instead of 1? Can somebody explain?
So
Maya,
first
can you
come,
repeat it again?
Why I can see 2 Volvo instead of 1 Volvo?
so first come for the hard-coded value, the other one would be for the loop, for loop.
Yes, yes. Okay, yeah, that's true. So yeah, this is hard coded just to display, and this is from loop. So you see that it works for both string and number, for loop and array. So now, anybody has any confusion how you are using array and why you are using array? So now if you want to change anything, you can give. So now I want to add one more car inside this. I want to add one more car inside this. So for example, I want to add Honda. So now how you can add a Honda? If you see from here, right, this concept, now you can just give a car and then index where you want to put. Like if you want to put index 10, for example, I am giving something like, okay. So cars and then index, for example, 10 and equal to, I'm giving Honda. So if I run this, what will be your what will be your expectation here? So if I run this, what will be the display here actually?
We will also see Honda.
You're supposed to see also Honda, yeah. Now, so there is an exception actually. It didn't. You see that here, there is an exception is index out of bound. So index out of bound exception is, so this one actually you are assigning, but in index 4, you are actually, index 4 should have Honda, right? So why index out of bound? Okay. So now if I just, okay, 1 second. Expecting. So if you go there, for example, you have, okay. So basically this one, right? This is not adding actually, this is updating. If you change some name, it will be updating the name of this car. So now that's why actually came like this. So now if I give this 3 instead of 4, then it will be good. There will be no error. So it is not actually adding, it is actually replacing Honda instead of Mazda, right? So Mazda will be changed to Honda actually. But I'm going to how to add actually. I'm going little later. So you will not see this error if you give index 3. So you see that here there is no more Mazda actually. Instead of Mazda, you just replaced Honda. And before I had index number 4, but when I run this, it figured out there is no actual index number 4. That's why there is an exception came, and this exception was index out of bound, right? Index out of bound. If I write this, for example, again, you will see there is an exception called index out of bound. So now, how you can actually avoid this exception? Can somebody tell how you can avoid this exception from last class? We discussed one technique, right? Exception handling, like try catch mechanism.
Yes, try and catch mechanism.
So you see that there is an exception, and this type of situation, if you don't want to change the code, you have to actually add try catch mechanism also. So if I go now again, like from last class, if I just want to show you try catch mechanism, and you can see try catch, I had code here. Okay. Exception handling is this here. Okay. So from last class we saw, let me run this again. So now inside this try, I just okay, taking this. Okay, actually, just I'm just creating another class here inside the array. New Java class. I'm just giving index exception. One more. So okay, so I have all of this. So now if I run this here, it should be working. I should see same thing. Now I just will copy this one. I'm just copying this instead of this entire line. So, so everybody now just see like what I'm doing here. So here you see that this is a array, right? And this array has 3 number, right? So these 3 number actually have how many index? 0, 1, and 2. But I'm saying print index number 10. If I say print index number 10, this, when I run this, it will go inside this array and it will not find anything. Similarly, actually, here, right? What I did before, I say, okay, replace index number 4. It says, we didn't find an index number 4. There is a problem. So I'm running this and it will say index out of bound exception, means index is not, the index you are looking for is not there, is not available. You see that index out of bound exception? Similar way here, it is index out of bound also. Anything you give more than 2 will be index out of bound, because there is the highest index here is 2, right? 0, 1, 2. So I give 10, even I give 5, it will be same thing, right? So now if I run this, what are you supposed to see? Can somebody tell what I'm supposed to see? I supposed to see all of this.
Yeah, 6, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13.
Because it is avoiding that index, because I use try catch mechanism from exception handling. You see that even though I gave some index, because I use try catch mechanism, it didn't give an error like this one, right? If I didn't give try catch mechanism, it would be showing like something like that, index out of bound exception, and your code fails. Exit code 1 means you basically run failed, and exit code 0 means you successfully ran the code with no problem. You see that exit code 0, and before it was exit code 1. So this is the concept, try catch mechanism or exception handling sometimes with your existing code. Okay, so now going back to array. What else? Okay, so this is array concept. Go to array demo. So same thing. This is actually 2-dimensional array. Actually, this is 2-dimensional means you have 2 different lines. I'll go this because this is X, Y. This is 1 column and 1 row. Looks like this. Let me check. So now actually we'll go array list. Most of the time you will be using actually array list. Just removing this because handling array list will be much easier. Okay. This is array list demo. Now you see that in array list, this is another one very similar to array. The command is little bit different actually. You have to use some kind of angular bracket instead of square bracket. In array, right, you saw we used square bracket, right? But in array list, you will see you are using actually angular bracket and then parenthesis. But in array, you used square bracket and then curly bracket for the numbers, right? Square bracket here and curly bracket for the value you are assigning. But array list, let me go back to the note first. So this is array list, right? So array list will be more helpful when you do automation because you can easily add, you can easily delete. Everything you do, you can use this array list. But the concept will be very similar. Now, in array list, you are declaring some variable cars, right? And in this array list, you can add as many possible cars you want. You are adding this basically. You can add, you can remove, you can clear. All of this function is already available in this array. And since you already downloaded Java JDK, right? So JDK is coming with this some Java library. If you see your project, for example, you have library, right? You see that external library for Java. This library already have this array and all this method already. So all you have to do, you have to just import this util package array list. So array list is a package. You'll have to just input. It will be automatically input when you write this. So now, how you use array list? So this is, first of all, I'm just going from the note and then I'll go to IntelliJ so that it will be easier. So you can see this is a util package array list, and in the array list, you can give the data type inside the, what is that? Angular bracket, right? This is angular bracket. And before we did in array, we give square bracket outside the data type, right? But in array list, you have to write this word array list. And here, did you write anything, the word like array? You didn't write anything, right? You didn't mention anything. It is automatically like mentioned, known this is array, but array list, you have to mention this word array list. When you mention this word array list, you will see this array list will be imported. So now your string, right? String means type of data you are adding. And now cars, that cars means the name. You can give any name. You can give your name, you can give C1, you can give anything here, right? This is a variable name. And then you have to just create a new list, new array list. So this is basically creating part. And if you go to IntelliJ, you will see here. So now anything you want to add, you have to just give dot, and then you will see add, remove, clear, anything, lot of function is there. So now, if you want to run this, for example, what happened here? Can somebody tell why this is red? All of this add and everything is red.
Some command is missing.
Yes, so, okay. What is missing here actually?
Before string, T is here. So I think T should be removed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems like it came here automatically, copied something, right? By mistake. So array list. So here, I just deleted something, right? That I said you have to mention array list, this word. That's why it's red, right? So if I just add this, it should be good. So by mistake, I don't know what I was doing. I removed that word, array list. That's why everything came as like red. Okay, so now it's good. So if I run this, for example, it should be working. Okay, it is not working. Okay, size 6. Okay, just let me. I'm just making this comment. So if I want to, so this is, what is that new came from? Can somebody tell what is that new for? So this new actually came from creating the object, right? New object. So anytime you give array list, and this new means you are creating exactly same array list, right? This is creating an object. So this way, let me check. So if I just create this one, okay, I'm just copying this one. So if I copy this, I'm just removing this and just remove this. So what I did, can somebody tell what is red here from the class?
You have both main.
So main method I wrote here twice, right? So I can just delete one.
Yes.
When I copied, so I just did twice. So is there any other red here? This is still red. So okay, actually I'm just creating a new class. Actually this copy and paste is sometimes okay. List demo 1, for example. So now, so this array list demo and import, you see that the red, because I didn't import the class, import the util package, right? So if I run this, if I run this, will it run? So this command, array list string cars, right? So now cars is the variable name. So new array list. So if you go to here and this string, and then there is a parenthesis. So I have to write string here.
Chanto, you don't have an extra curly bracket all the way at the bottom?
I need one extra curly bracket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think, let me check. Yeah, I definitely need one more curly bracket. Okay, so there was extra curly bracket. Okay. So if I run this now, just deleting this. Deleting this also. Okay. So if I run this, so what will be the expectation here? What you're supposed to see here?
A list of all the cars.
In the screen, on the console.
I believe Volvo.
So the code did not run. So it is coming from the back actually. Okay, so
I think we didn't add new array list. So
yeah, okay.
what is the new array list?
So if I go, okay, listen. So I imported one first. Let me check. I imported array list. Okay, I imported array list, and now I created the. I wrote main method. So array list string cars, right? New array list, and that string also. So if I run this, I should see all of these cars actually. I should see all of these cars. Let me check. Let me check one thing. 1 second. Oh, so this one is actually array. I'm just thinking what I didn't add actually. Just 1 second. So array list. So I'm just checking if I did something wrong. So I imported utilities, right? Array here, demo. Okay, class demo1. So I'm right now here. So if I run this, There is no extra curly bracket also. I remove this, for example, the previous one. So now if I run this, oh, it is working actually. There was something wrong with my old class. So now it is actually working. Okay, so this array list, I don't know why it did not work before. So you can see here, right? It is working. And now if you want to, for example, delete one of them. So what do you have to do? Oh, I don't know why it gave me problem, but so all of these cars.add, right? You can add any car. Now you want to remove something, you can give some index, you want to clear something, you can just clear, or you want to see the size. Size means length in array. In array, you saw length, right? But in array list, you will see size. So those are some important methods. So now, if I want to add more car, actually, cars, and if you just press, if you just type dot, you will see a lot of options. So one option is remove, right? For example, you want to remove Ford. If you want to remove Ford, you have to just give index number 2, right? Now I give index number 2. Now I want to add 2 more cars. I give Toyota, for example. And I give another car. And give Honda maybe.
Shanto bhai, this is Grantha. Can I leave now?
Yeah, you can leave.
Okay.
So I give now dot size. So okay. So if I run this code, what I supposed to see here? Can somebody tell me the expected result here? So basically,
It just show the Volvo, BMW, Ford, and Mazda.
yes, but I'm
Yes.
okay.
And then size.
And then size 5, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's actually true. But if I just add this one again, so what is my expectation now here?
So
That
first
was
see the
Toyota and
Ford, and the other time it shows remove the Ford and putting the value instead of Ford, Honda and Toyota as well. Volvo, BMW, Mazda, Toyota, and Honda.
Okay, so yeah, that's true. Okay, so let me run this. So first you will see this 4, and then it will remove Ford, and then we'll be adding Toyota and Honda, and then we'll be displaying all of this except Ford, right? You see that first it displays these 4, right? Now I wanted to see the size. Why I didn't see the size actually? Can somebody tell why I did not see the size?
Should we need to add a system.print.println?
Yes, so basically you have to just use this inside the println method, right? Anything you want to see here, it has to go inside the println. Now if I write this, before this line, you will see size as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see that? Okay, so basically this is array list actually. You can actually do a lot of things with array list. You can remove, you can clear. What else actually? And you can do exactly same thing like, as I said, loop concept also. So now you can do for loop. Just simply use for loop here, right? If I just copy and paste this part. And just go there. And now, if you see this, right, you are adding, and if you write for loop here, you can just use for loop also. So what is that for loop? This is a simple for loop. You can see I, right, and cars. So this will be anything inside the car, and I means the number of car you want to see actually. So before that you just saw this, right? Then for loop will be displaying everything in separately in a single one by one. And before you just saw the list inside the array list, and using this for loop, you can just see all the car values that is inside the array list. So now if I, before for loop, if I say, if I use one thing, dot clear, if I use this dot clear, so what is the expectation now at the end in for loop? What you will see in the for loop? Instead of this 5 name, you should not see anything actually. You see that? So now, if you just type this again, size, right? And this size, before it was 5, then you cleared everything from inside. Now you're supposed to see 0. Size supposed to be 0 because you just cleared with this command. See that? So first you had 4 car, then you deleted 1 car from here, Ford, and then you added 2 more, right? And then you saw the size of this total 5, and then you cleared everything from inside, and then you printed the size of how many you want to check. You see 0. So this is some of the stuff you can do with array list actually. So I think I will not continue with array list more. I will just jump into object-oriented other concept that is important. Inheritance I started. Okay, so let me go to inheritance again. Exception handling is done. Inheritance, okay. So inheritance concept, before going to inheritance, going to note first.
Here, so before going to inheritance, I want to know that when we use array list.
So array list, basically, as I said, if you want to, like most of the time, you're not gonna use array, you're gonna use array list, because array list util package, right? It is much easier to modify inside the, what is that, value, the list of the value, right? You can add anytime just with add method. For example, you saw this, right? What is that? You see this in array list, you can add, you can clear, you can remove, right? Only difference is you have to just change little bit the command, right? Other than that, between array and array list will be exactly same. Array list is coming from this util package, but array is different. Array is not coming from util package. It will be just working by itself. But also when you want to use it, as I said, in some, for example, in some screen, right? If you go to here, you see how many tab is there. You can see, you can make it inside the array and check it one by one. Or if you want to check some scenario that, okay, inside the Java tutorial, how many sub tab is there? Each of them, for example, sub tab, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So there is 18, right? So 18 means 17 index, 0 to 17. So you can, if your project is just checking this screen, so now you will be using array or array list to create some variables, and you will be just saving this name inside this variable. And then, because if you want to use one single variable, it will not work, right? Because you have to use all of these names. This is 18 names, right? So 18 names you'll be listing inside array or array list, and you want to display this. So you will be just using the loop, for loop, right? So that you can see this. And also you will see assertion that probably Joel Bhai covered little bit with the Selenium IDE, but assertion will be very, very important, because in assertion, after you display, you will be checking that, okay, it is matching with your expected name. So if you see that, okay, you supposed to see index 1 has Java intro, index 0 has Java home. So your Java home, if it comes index 17, the sequence is not matching, right? That this is not expected sequence. So basically your sequence, you display, you name, all of these, you are checking with array or array list also. There is another one you will be using, this hash map. We will not cover this right now, maybe later. Hash map also very similar to array list. So this is the actually useful scenario or places where you use array and array list. Checking some drop down, checking some list on the screen, and especially if you have to check UI screen, you'll be using array list a lot actually. So you got your concept?
Yes, sir. I got it.
So going back to, so far object-oriented programming concept, right? So we know how to create an object, right? So anytime you want to create an object, that means you are using something, the word new, right? If you do Code Academy, you also know this stuff a little bit. So, and we already discussed in Java, right? Class and objects are two main things that you are always working with, because object you are creating from the class. So basically class is a template, and from this template you are creating some object. And in Java, actually, this is okay. There's 4 important concepts you need for automation also. Maybe this is not, you don't need maybe in high level or advanced level, but basic concept you have to know actually, because especially inheritance or polymorphism, these two you will see a lot actually. Inheritance you will see all the time, because when you create some kind of project in automation, you have to use parent class and child class, this relationship, that is inheritance, right? So all of these your important information you want to use in the future, that any code you want to reuse, that will be going to your parent class. Remember I said last week, inheritance, so parent class will have all the genetic information that will move to children class also. One of the word you use extend, and by using the word extend, you are basically using all the parent class without writing this code. So these 4 important, this is called kind of pillar of Java programming concept. Encapsulation you will see for security purpose, any banking, you will see that, okay, if you want to go to inside the code, you just cannot go to this code directly. This is, the code will be written as private instead of public. You saw the word public a lot, but in encapsulation, you will see how you can handle this code or testing when you have the word private. And inheritance I'll be going today, and polymorphism, if I it's 125, maybe I will start a little bit polymorphism. And abstraction, you also need abstraction. That is because, as I said, multi-level, this one, right? Okay, this one, multiple inheritance, right, will not be covered through inheritance concept. Multiple inheritance will be covered through abstraction. So this is the last topic actually for Java. But inheritance, I'll go a little bit from last class. As I said, there are 4 types of inheritance, but 3 you will be using a lot, most at this part. Single inheritance, multiple inheritance, hierarchical inheritance. Single means you have a parent class and you have a child class. So child to parent, single relationship, one child to parent, basically. This is called single inheritance. And multiple inheritance means multi-level actually. You have kind of parents, and parents have another parents. So child, parent, and it is kind of grandparent, parent, and child, this relationship. So this is multi-level inheritance. And hierarchical inheritance, if you have multiple siblings, for example, class A is kind of parent, and B, C, and D are child. So all of these childs can get parents' information at the same time using the word extends. So this is the word extends that you will be actually using for inheritance. And in Selenium framework, you will see in the future this word extend will be used, because this A will have all the code written that you will be using many times. Means you will be just calling them using the word extend. For example, if you have a Chrome driver, for example, right? Or if you have some code you will be using every time next several sprints. So you will be just creating one parent class and just save this all of this code inside this parent class. And anytime you create a new child class, all you have to do, you don't have to write all of this code. You will be using the word extend, and then automatically anything A has or parent has will be part of you also. Means part of D or part of C or part of B. So actually I'm going to IntelliJ, then showing a little bit. So here is one of these class. For example, I already wrote this. So this is your kind of, you can say, grandparent. So person is a common class. It is, you can consider this as a grandparent. Here I just, okay, so this grandparent, teacher will be parent, and admin will be maybe child, right? Teacher and admin. So all of these parent, child, or grandparent classes, one important thing, they don't have any main method. If you see person, it doesn't have any main method. Main method will be available only when you test something, in test class. So if you want to display anything here, you definitely need main method. So this, you are not displaying anything here. So if you see that test, right? Test method, you will be displaying. So now if you go to person, right? As I said, person is kind of your grandparent. If you think about this picture, right? Not this picture, I'm just showing right now multi-level inheritance. So inside multi-level inheritance, this part is actually single inheritance, right? This altogether multi-level, but this part is single inheritance. So if you go to IntelliJ, so anything related to person and teacher is single inheritance, right? So basically, teacher is extending all the information from the person, right? Person, whatever person has, teacher is getting inside this class using the word extends. And admin, right? This is a multi-level. Admin is kind of child, and admin is extending teacher, right? So extending teacher means it is getting all the information from person. Also, it is getting all the information from teacher. You see that? Why I can tell this is a multi-level. So basically, person is a common class. You can see this is like a grandparent, and teacher is a parent here, if you think the concept. And basically, teacher is getting information from person because person is grandparent, right? And then admin is a class that is child class, for example. So child class is extending teacher, and teacher is extending information from person. So basically, admin has everything. Admin has both teacher and person, because teacher is parent and parents grandparents also. So this is a concept of inheritance. So in teacher, you wrote something, in person you wrote something, but in admin you didn't write anything because you automatically getting everything by the concept of inheritance. Now, if you have a test class, this is a test class where you will be just want to see that, okay, you can use admin or you can use teacher. So here you are using single inheritance now. And in single inheritance, what you are doing, you are creating some new teacher, and some new teacher will have all the information that has both person and the teacher, right? This is by inheritance concept. So this is the new object creation, right? New teacher, teacher one equal to new teacher. So now if you want to give some information for teacher, you can see t1 dot name. So where this thing name came from, actually, can somebody tell where this name came from? So name, if you open the teacher one, teacher has any name?
It is coming from person class.
Name and phone actually coming from the person, right? You didn't even give anything, but you actually can, you are able to use this name because teacher was inherited from person, right? So automatically anything person have, like for example here person has only phone number and name, and also these two is automatically coming here. So you see that dot name, there is no issue. So now if I remove name from the person, you will see some red stuff here, right? Now I'm just commenting this name, I'm just commenting it. You will now see this teacher has name red, test also name is red. You see that why those are red actually? Because they are coming from the grandparent, right? Like person. Anybody has any confusion here actually? Because you will be using this concept a lot in Selenium actually. So if I just remove this comment, and you will see all the reds are gone because those names were originally coming from the person. And how they came from the person? Because teacher actually extends, right? Extends all the information from person. And also this teacher added new stuff, and this new stuff is qualification, for example, right? These two came from the person, and this qualification is brand new. Now, one thing teacher did actually, teacher actually changed little bit of person's method. So you see that the person using display method, display information one. Everybody can see there, this thing. This is a very important concept actually.
Yes, yeah.
So person originally created a method, display information one, and it has two things, right? Now, teacher actually modified this display information one method, right? Teacher actually added one more line here. You see that it added one more line here. And gave display information 2. Same method that came from person, and it is now display information 2. Two different name, right? Just one extra line added. So this is an important concept that will be called method overriding actually. For example, if you get a building that is 2-story, 2-floor from your parents, can you change it and make it 3-floor in the future?
Yeah, we can change.
So similar concept is using, right? So it had 2-line teacher modified parents display information and added 1 more line. So basically it modified. Basically it is overriding the method. This is a concept called method overriding actually. This is part of your polymorphism concept. So here you can see both inheritance and at the same time method overriding and method overloading. This is called polymorphism actually. One of the concept. So inheritance and polymorphism goes side by side most of the time. And last class we used constructor, right? Constructor also is part of polymorphism, and this is actually method overloading. Means you have same method name but multiple signature inside, different type of method signature basically, but I'll go there little later. So this is actually when you modify something from your parents, right? This will be called method overriding actually. So person had only 2 lines, now teacher has 1 extra line, and this teacher changed the name little bit differently, right? So display information 2 used to be display information 1, now display information 2. So now in test, right, you have 2 options. You have 2 options means you can either use display information 1 or you can use display information 2. So since you have 3 different value, right, you want to display, you need those modified one, right? There's 3 different value, but originally person had only 2 different method or 2 different display, right? Phone and name, but teacher added qualification also and modified the method and added that qualification part. So in the test you are just giving display information 2. Same thing here. You can create as many as object you want. Now if I run this, what I supposed to see here? If I run this, can somebody tell me what I supposed to see here?
Everything comes from teacher.
Here, so if I run this, I supposed to see this and this, right? The name, teacher name, teacher phone number, and qualification. 2 different set of data here, right? So you see that 2 set of data. So these 2 set of data you are displaying, but you are using multiple concept here, right? You are using inheritance, you are using method overriding at the same time. So anybody has any confusion what I'm doing here, inheritance and method overriding? This is an interview question actually, method overriding part. Method overriding part is interview question. You have to give some example. And now you are doing same thing, inheritance and sometimes method overloading also, that is constructor. So now if you go to test again, actually, okay, so if I use instead of 2, if I use information display 2 or 1, actually 1, so what I supposed to see here then? If I run this code again and I said display information 1 instead of information 2, so all I will see same except this line, because parent did not have this line, right? You see that this is coming from parent, from the original method, and original method had only 2 lines. You see that? But then later child method had these 2 from the parent, and this child method added this one also here. So this is actually concept for inheritance. So you will see this a lot, and you will see also multi-level inheritance. Actually, this is multi-level inheritance, and hierarchical inheritance also you'll be using a lot. Let me check. So if you now hierarchical inheritance, actually same thing. Now if you want to create another child, right? Teacher 2, for example. So teacher 1 here, 1 child, and teacher 2 is another child. So same thing, teacher 2 or teacher 1 both can get information from person. Same thing again here, you can do admin 1, admin 2, admin 3. So it doesn't matter how many child, right? All the childs are getting from parents. Only thing is important, you have to use the word extends. So this is an interview question. Inheritance, what keyword you use to get the information from parent? So this is the word extends, right? Word extends means anything parent has, you are getting all of this without writing this code. So this is very simple example here, just 2 lines of code. But in real life, you will see your parent has maybe 50 lines of code, maybe 90 lines of code or 100 lines of code, and you are not writing this 100 lines of code here again. All of this, it's coming automatically by using the word extends. Let me check where I am. So method inheritance is method overriding. I already showed you method overriding. So now this is okay. Inheritance is kind of, you already maybe understood inheritance. Okay, those are same thing that I did actually. Yes, same thing I did actually, just in a picture format here. So if you practice yourself, you'll will be more clear. Your concept will be more clear. So now another important topic I want to start, because we have like half an hour left, maybe 20 minutes left. Polymorphism. So polymorphism is another concept, is important for interview also. And at the same time, you will be using this for your automation testing actually in Selenium. So polymorphism, right? The definition of polymorphism is kind of similar stuff working. It looks same, right? But work differently. It looks same but work differently. So if you go to W3 School, actually, W3 School will give you clear concept. Polymorphism, let me check. Method, overloading, abstraction, polymorphism. Okay. W3 School is really good for all the concept, for definition type of stuff. So, not a decent actually. Where did I click? Okay, here. Okay, you see that is many form. Polymorphism means many form, but they look same actually, right? So you saw that in method overloading and method overriding, you already saw polymorphism actually before I am starting this polymorphism. Yes, from last class you saw some polymorphism that is called method overloading. Constructor is a good example of polymorphism, and this is a big interview question: constructor and polymorphism. So you can use constructor example for the interview answer. So now, so you see that inheritance is coming with polymorphism kind of side by side. If you see the example here, I'll go to IntelliJ a little later. If you see the example here, this is one class, this is one class, this is another class, right? So all of these are classes, and animal is common. You can say this is your parent class. Those are multiple or hierarchical inheritance. This is a perfect example of hierarchical inheritance. And how this is hierarchical inheritance? Because if you think about animal is parent, pig is one type of animal, dog is one type of animal, and both of them getting information or code from animal, right? And animal, and how they're getting this with the word extends. You have to use the word extends to get the information as part of inheritance. So those are inherited properties. You see that this is inherited properties that is getting this both pig and dog. Now, this is parent, right? So parent animal makes a sound, right? This is a method. This parent has only one method. This is how it sounds. This is a method animal sound, right? Now, can somebody tell how I can say this is a method? This is an interview question also sometimes. How you can know this is a method actually? How I know
Because
this
we
is
have main method.
Sorry?
We have main method.
We don't have main method here, but this is a
Okay,
method.
yeah.
This is a method
Method,
inside the class. So anytime you see something, this parenthesis, some method name with parenthesis, this is a simple plain parenthesis, right? Regular parenthesis. You can say this is a method. All the method has this parenthesis. Any method you see in Java will have this parenthesis. Maybe constructor will have something inside, but you will have this parenthesis right after the name. So animal sound is a method, right? And animal, this animal is a class because there is no parenthesis. You see that? If you go to, for example, here, right? You see this, all of this method has a parenthesis, parenthesis. So method usually have parenthesis before curly bracket. If you have curly bracket, it will go after the parenthesis. but anytime you see this, even Java main method, if you go to test, right? Java main method also has a parenthesis. You see that? So this is one of the shortcut where you can say this is a method or not actually. So going back to, okay. So these are methods. So this animal sound is method from the parent animal. So now pig is coming here, right? So now pig extends animal method and it is using this animal sound, but it is changing little bit inside. You see that? Before it says the animal makes a sound. Now it is saying the pig says wee wee. So it is actually overriding the method. It is actually overriding the same method. So it is kind of, you are actually, okay, you got this method from your parent. For example, you got some house from your parent, and now you are changing in one of this room's color. Inside the room color was white, now you are making it blue. You can make it, you have to just write it here. Before it was white, now it is blue. So same thing they did, like pig, how it sound, and then same dog, how it sound, right? But they're using this method from the parent class and just overriding this class. Now, this is the test method now. So test method, it is just creating some new dog or new pig or something. You see that? And if you see, this is, if you try yourself also, you can check here. So this is just the parent. This is child. This is child. And this is the main method, means test method. So test method you need when you want to display something here. So without main method, right? You see that public static void main. Without this public static void main, you cannot see anything. If I just give this, if you run this, right, it will be displaying like this. These three lines should be displaying here. But if I just give a comment in front of main method, nothing will be displayed actually. It will be giving error. You see that? You need a main method. It says that you need a main method, because without main method, you cannot run any code in Java. Run it again, and you'll see the answer. So this is actually part of both method overriding and inheritance. You see that this is hierarchical inheritance, right? If you see, this is an example of hierarchical inheritance. And you saw in hierarchical inheritance here, right? This one. So that was pig, that was dog. You can say this is a cow, right? Next one will be, you can say this is a horse. All of this animal, this is animal, right? And all of this name of these animals will be like child, right? And anything animal has in common, they can get it as part of inheritance. So now if you see, what is it? Polymorphism, actually. Polymorphism doing same thing, just is defining that, okay, you can use your parent stuff, but at the same time, you can change parent design also, right? Your parent made 50 years ago some house. It doesn't mean that you have to keep it for next 100 years. You can change the design. You can keep the house, but you can change the design. So this is part of your polymorphism. Anybody has any confusion about?
Yeah, I have a confusion.
Yes.
Here in case method, here they change my animal is equals to new animal.
Okay.
Why they gonna write down this?
Which one? Oh, let me check. So
Yeah.
you say that.
Yeah.
So it is just parent class. So it is creating some object from the parent. You can create any object from any class actually. But inheritance was part of the relationship concept, that how you can actually use existing code by word extends. So basically this is an example of creating a new object, basically creating a new object of animal. So it doesn't mean that you cannot actually create parent object. You can create any class, actually. You can create object from any class. But I'm saying if you want to avoid existing code from the parent or animal class, you can just simply use the word extend. Here is only one line. That's why you think this is not kind of useful. But if this animal has 50 lines of code, that will be a big use, right?
So I have a question.
Yes.
So if we want to use the any attributes from the class, so before we need to use it, we need to create an object first.
So if you want to display anything,
Right.
you need to create an object. For example, the class is kind of template. Class is type of blueprint or template. If you see object-oriented programming concept, if you see, for example, Java class and object. So class will be actually template and object will be whatever like you want to display. If you see, okay, yeah, this is the class, right? So you see that it says in Java, an object is always created from the class.
And that should be created in the main class.
Yes, and in the main.
So my question, next question would be if we want to use from the child class, and if we use something from the parent class, so can we just create the child class through using the parent attributes? Can we use it from the parent class?
Yeah, so that one is actually that is also possible, but this is that you can use with constructor also. If you see constructor, where is that? Let me go to constructor concept again. If you see the constructor, okay, yeah. So if you see the constructor, for example, here in constructor, you are not using any inheritance. You are directly using class name. Here, you see that? You have a class teacher, right? And now your teacher is using multiple constructor method. Those are special type of method. Means this is only one method actually, but this method has different type of signature. If you see this is called constructor signature. That means what type of value this method will be taking. So same method, different signature. You see that same method name, different signature. So this is actually one of the example of polymorphism also. Is you see that polymorphism is many form. So teacher is the same name of method, but it takes different type of values. That's why this is method overloading. This is actually example of method overloading. Method overloading, it means same method name, but different type of method signature. It based on different type of method signature, it takes different type of values here. So now if you go to test class here, right? Here you will see you are just directly creating teacher class. You are creating object from teacher class here using the constructor. But in automation practice, you will see you have to use actually inheritance, because you will have some kind of package or some kind of classes where your all the connection will be there. Like for example, your Chrome driver, your Selenium related, what is that? Maybe some page object model stuff. Actually, when you go to page object model, you want to maintenance stuff. So something that you can maintain without going every single code. Some what is that? Usable code that you will be using every time. All the classes you need those code. So you don't want to write all this code every time in every single classes. So you will keep those codes in some parent class or some util class, and every time you need this, just extend this in your test class. So it doesn't matter that you are using this teacher or parent teacher or parent relationship. It can be happening. Okay, if you go there, for example, if you are testing W3 school as part of your QA job, first job, you got a job in W3 school is your one of the project. So now you have one class. That class has all these methods, for example, all of this in one class. And now something you are testing inside this page, and now in sprint 5, right, you have to test this again. So all you have to do, this is a page, right? So anything related to this page, part of your regression testing, you can just use that original parent class that has all of this information and just call them using the word extend. You don't have to write all of this code again and again. One time somebody wrote, that's it. You can use just using the word extend.
Sorry to interrupt you. I think you need to charge your laptop.
Oh, yeah.
About to die.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, so inheritance will be used in differently. Actually, it's not all the time just for one simple method or something. So it will be like a maintenance purpose, saving time. So if you originally see Java concept, right? Java is reusable. So when you say Java is reusable, inheritance is one of these important concept that comes with reusability. Because if you use the word extend, that means you are just bypassing writing all of these codes that you already have in parent class.
So where can you give us an example
Yes.
in IntelliJ?
Yeah, so those are some
I
kind
think
of
it's better.
yeah, no, this is actually some of this example that in inheritance example we gave, actually polymorphism and inheritance. So polymorphism, inheritance. Yeah, so this is one of this. Okay, one of this example here you can see, right? So this is polymorphism. So now there are relationship. So polymorphism is working with inheritance. So person is a common class, right? I'm just removing this. Okay. So person has a display method. This is a display method, person. Just one method person has. So now student is extending the person. So now student is extending person and it is overriding display. And how it is overriding, you see that it is overriding, it was before person and now it is saying student. Now teacher, if you go to teacher, so teacher is overriding again this. Now if you go to test, for example, you can just write new person or new teacher or new student. And if you just use same method, it will be displaying 3 different names. So exactly same name you are using for the method, but they're using different statement because you are using method overriding concept in polymorphism. So sometimes you have to sometimes in automation, right? So you have
is
to
it main method? Bhaiya?
This is the main method actually. Main method is always static void main.
Static void.
So in main
Inside the main method, we can use another method.
yes. So in the parent or child those are classes, right? Those are classes. Those classes doesn't have main method, but those classes has regular method or variables that you want to use in the future, right? For the testing. So these can be okay, this can be one of your Selenium classes that has all the codes for homepage, right? You see that homepage? These, okay. And this one maybe has another class that has all of these browser related information like Chrome browser and how to log into Chrome browser, how to log into Firefox browser, how to log into Safari browser, how to log into Internet Explorer. You see that 2 different classes have 2 different information. Now one class, now this browser related information, this, for example, if this is a page object page, so it will just extend these browser classes here so that it doesn't need any other, it doesn't have to write everything again actually. This may be like 50 line of code, it is extending. So now in test method, it will be just running the code basically. So test method is kind of, you are running your test cases. You are running your test cases and sometimes you are giving input, different type of input. As you saw in constructor, right? As you saw in constructor, this is all the setup. The regular method is the setup that where you will be using your testing data, right? So if you go to test method, in the test method, you are giving multiple data that you are testing. So test method will be always actually just for display purpose and running purpose. But your parent child classes will be actually getting all of this, what is that? Will have all the code that you need actually. You will be writing all the Selenium code, for example, inside the parent child classes. In the test method, you'll be just running those parent child classes actually. But I think those whoever wanted to see the real life example, you will see those once we start Selenium actually. I think Joel will start Selenium tomorrow. Some part of Selenium that you can see actually. So there will be a lot of Java code will be involved. Not too many Java code, but this type of parent-child relationship will be very, very important there because.
I have just question.
Yes.
So can we have some test case for, I mean, polymorphism so we can do practice?
I don't have here, but I can provide you actually. I can provide you next class some of these polymorphism and constructor related test cases.
Thank you.
I think I don't have written here because for that I have to add Selenium code also. I think I will provide you next class, but before that you just start the regular Selenium basic first tomorrow.
Okay.
Then I will actually explain more with polymorphism and inheritance, constructor, method overloading, method overriding. That will be, I think, better for understanding purpose. But many of these concepts are just plain interview question. What is method overriding and what you do in method overriding? What is method overloading and what you do in method overloading? What is constructor? This type of thing. But I think, let me check. I think other than that, in OOPS concept, you need inheritance and polymorphism is one of the important one. And also you definitely need abstraction actually. That will be coming next class. Next class, I'll be explaining abstraction and encapsulation actually, these two. So you need some encapsulation and some abstraction. Abstraction is a big topic, but you don't need like all of this. So I think for today, inheritance and polymorphism is good enough for today. Actually already 2:15. So I think I will stop here and I'll continue next class also about the two remaining topic. And I will check with example that I can use inheritance and polymorphism with Selenium. So anybody else has any other question? So next week, Saturday, I will probably start from 11 because I have to leave 1 hour early somewhere. So anybody has any issues if I start class at 11 next week on Saturday only?
No, I have no problem.
Okay, so yeah, I'll actually.
So every Saturday or just?
No, only just next Saturday.
Oh, okay. No, I have no problem.
Okay, so no, I have something afternoon, so I have to leave early. Okay, so I'll remind you all about that 11 o'clock next Saturday. But tomorrow, Gyulbai will be starting same time, 12. So I think see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock then. If nobody has question.
Like, can I leave now or?
Yes. So you can leave. I'll also stop sharing and stop recording also.